right, Matt, we're still waiting.
We're still waiting. 29 years ago, my gosh, I hate to do this. I was a freshman, all right, at the University of Arizona. And I almost changed my mind coming to school here because we hit a historic mark on that date. This date, actually.
Very hot one.
A very hot one. Here it is for you. We show this to you once a year just because
Woo!
to remind you, keep things in perspective, guys. It can get a lot hotter than we've seen this year for sure. 117 big ones back in 1990 on this day. So we show you that just to kind of say to you, well, it could usually be worse. A, and B, we're kind of done with probably the hottest days that we typically, no guarantees here. I mean, it can get hot in July too, but for the most part, our hottest days typically come during the month of June. I mean, 102 today, that's average for this time of year. There's your record, 117, the hottest ever. So, I mean, Yuma, 100 degrees. What's going on? It could be 115 there, and that wouldn't be that historic of a day. We've been very fortunate so far this year, wouldn't you say? Wind speeds, yeah, they're gusty. It's spring after. It's not spring. It's summer after all. Gosh, where's my mind been? But we're still in a spring-like pattern, perhaps. That's why. 100, so we're down a degree this hour at Tucson International Airport. Dew point down to 39. We'd like to get those dew points into the mid-50s this time of year to start talking about our storm chances. Stay tuned. We're going to talk more about that in just a minute here. Most of us still kind of hanging on to the low 100s across the Tucson area, into the 90s in Cochise and Santa Cruz County. Here's some of that monsoon moisture in the state of New Mexico, in the state of Chihuahua, just to the south of El Paso, Texas, West Texas, seeing some showers. Sadly, our flow today aloft is coming from the southwest. That's a very dry flow. Remember the definition of the monsoon. That's seasonal shift of the wind. So why do I say spring even though it's summer? Because it's a spring-like pattern. Our summer is sort of dominated by winds coming out of the east, and to our east is where that moisture is. What can bring the moisture in? Well, this nice little big this little big area of high pressure that should set up shop a little bit closer to our area. Goes to the north over the course of the next couple days, late this work weekend of the weekend, and sits not in the best place for us, but in a much better place to usher in some moisture from West Texas, New Mexico, and northern Mexico. And we can sort of quantify that with our dew point forecast. Remember, a dew point number is just how much moisture we have at the surface to work with to create storms. Our magic number, 54, remember back in the old days, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, before we defined the monsoon by calendar days, we defined it 3 days consecutive of 54 degrees. Well, we're at least getting into the mid-40s, so that is progress, my friends. Lows tonight, upper 60s to near 70. Sunny and hot tomorrow, 105 for our top temp. We'll keep things hot for Cochise and Santa Cruz County as well. Wind shouldn't be too much of a factor, but once again, look out for some of those gusty winds. We still have some of those fires statewide, so got to keep our eyes on those wind speeds. 105 tomorrow, 107, some storms popping up, I think, east of the region by Friday and Saturday. As that moisture continues to increase, all it takes is a couple of those storms to move a little bit farther to the west. Those severe storms sometimes have very powerful winds. Those winds blow out ahead of the storms, gets the air to rise, can create new ones. So as a result, I put a 10% chance of some storms, even perhaps as far west as Tucson later in the weekend. So again, 10% chance, probably not going to happen, but it does show things moving kind of in that better direction for us.
All right.
And you know, when it gets